Let's rock, baby.
Hey guys, what is up? This is Christian here, and this is a new Eonic Enlightenment, and it's the one I've been trying to get done for many weeks. And now I kind of have all the information I needed, so as you can see in the title, it is the DMC and also the Capcom Problem. So, a little history just so you guys can probably catch up or be up to date. In 2013, Capcom was stated to possibly go bankrupt, and it doesn't look like they're going to go bankrupt from what it looks like, but they're still in the same fiasco. A good example, I think this Friday, I'm dating this now, it's funny, Street Fighter V is coming out, and they're gambling on that. They want that to be successful. And then it got me thinking, when I heard about the Street Fighter V, I was like, wait a minute, isn't there another franchise they've been gambling on that didn't get what it deserved? And that's where Devil May Cry came from. The Devil May Cry problem was that everybody pans and says that the DMC Devil May Cry game was one of the worst games to ever come out for the franchise. It was terrible. The gameplay was bad. The new Dante ruined it. The new Virgil ruined it. This ruined it. It's like, but did it? Did it ruin it? And this is the game where I was saying from my Five Nights at Freddy or FNAF World Enlightenment that fans were one of the big reasons this game might have killed the franchise. Now I said might because I've been doing some more research and I found out that the creator, give me a minute, I kind of feel bad that I don't know his name off the top of my head. Hideko oh my god, Itsuno. Is the creator of Devil May Cry, and he had actually stated in a interview that he worked with them on the DMC game. He even stated that he was the one who asked Ninja Theory to take on the game. So if you don't know what that means, that actually means that the guy who created Devil May Cry or started with the company was still with them at the time. Many people know he moved on to do Bayonetta, but he was still there helping out this game and this franchise. And to see him be confident enough in Ninja Theory, it was great to read about. I was like, oh wow, that's amazing to see that Ninja Theory was, handpicked by him. That tells you how much the developer trusts and enjoys what the company makes. Now the thing is, what was it? The first things that I want to get out of the way, some rumors that were given out that I just think are stupid. The first rumor is that how the Dante character was developed. From what I remember people telling me is that Dante's design was created to mimic the creator. I just told you who the creator was. It was not the fucking guy from Ninja Theory. The other guy may have left Capcom, or I think he's still with it. I don't remember exactly what happened. But instead of what was it? Instead of sorry, I'm kind of drawing a blank. It was the design of Dante was actually designed after, I think, from what I remember reading, it was designed after, where is it? After a Christopher Nolan movie, The Dark Knight. Wait, what? A Batman movie? Yes. He was created to pretty much resemble that world. He wasn't designed to look like anybody. He was just designed to fit in with the Dark Knight franchise. So think about it. If you liked the Joker from the Dark Knight, this is kind of what they were going for with their character design. They wanted Dante to be more realistic. The other thing is that they wanted Dante to fit in with the crowd. So this is why Dante is also redesigned more fit towards the younger generation. Now, the thing that bugs me about what people say about this franchise is that this game was so bad because it didn't feel like a Devil May Cry game. This is where I think you're wrong, and like the footage that is on here will prove it. Because what is Devil May Cry? I want you to really think about this for a minute. Is it an exploration game? Yeah, kinda. I mean, the first game was an exploration game because it was just the original Resident Evil game that they turned into that. But later it developed into what it is. A hack and slash franchise that is linear, that you just collect stuff, get a double form, and beat the hell out of bosses. That was all it was. Every game has proven this, even this one. The only thing that they did was they gave him a little bit too much outrageous powers. I will admit, the angel powers were kind of annoying, and I'm going to go into the differences between what I like and what I don't like about the new changes to characters. So, um, the other things about the Devil May Cry game that bug me is just how people think that Capcom bribed people to give them good scores on this game. I don't think so. From somebody who actually sat down and played the game, and I think what I did is I turned my mind off and said, it's a Devil May Cry game. I'm going to play it. I enjoyed it. And I think the original plan for this before they thought about rebooting it was this was probably going to be a prequel. It has every bit of detail showing that it was going to be a prequel. I think what changed it was that Capcom was, as I said, they were struggling with the bankruptcy issue, and they thought maybe redesigning the Devil May Cry franchise would help get new people into the franchise. Because the hardest part about getting your franchise noticed is if it's been around for many years, that's cool. You know, you can keep the nostalgia up. But as newer gamer generations show up, it's harder to get those people to play. That's why I think this new Dante was more played towards teenagers. And a good example where people get mad because they placed certain characters are Teen Titans Go, if you've seen that animated show. I've even admitted I hate the show, but my friend and I, we both agree. The only reason Teen Titan Go sucks is because they used the Teen Titans. If they didn't use the Teen Titans, the Teen Titan Go would have been a good show. And that's the same thing with Devil May Cry, Devil May Cry. If Dante and all his franchise wasn't using this probably would have been an amazing game. But because Dante's name was slapped on it, that's why. And that's where people's judgment needed to go away. I think the biggest problem with Capcom making this gamble was that I don't think they trusted their own franchise. They didn't think the franchise was going to keep fans' attention. So now we're going to talk about the changes that happened between characters. As you know, Dante's biggest changes were, first and foremost, the design, his face, his hair, and everything. So, like I said, from what I can guess, and I've seen like a theory, and people say, you know, because of Capcom saying it's an alternate universe and blah, blah, blah. I really think originally this was supposed to be a prequel. I think the entire plans was this to be a prequel, and what changed it was Capcom at the last minute saying we needed it as a reboot instead. And Ninja Theory and Hideko kind of like freaked out because this could have been a really good prequel. Some of the things I saw in like the theory that people debunked was like Trish knowing, I think it was not Trish knowing, it was Trish mentioning Mundus and Dante not knowing Mundus, and Dante knowing Virgil as a kid. They explained that in DMC that Virgil and Dante did know each other as kids. They've always known each other as kids. It's just Dante forgot. He's a kid, he forgot. Now on the Mundus thing, Dante honestly is a teenager, and then when he gets into his later years, he's just a party animal. I mean, come on. You can't lie with how Dante's character is. I think after killing such a big bad guy, you'd probably forget who he is because you haven't seen him in years. Especially since DMC 1 takes place really far in the future, honestly. It's not that far, but it's a little bit more past 3. So with Dante's character design, I think the design was okay. It didn't really have that much problems. The necklace change was kind of weird because wasn't used to it being a big ruby, but then again, it was an improvement on the giant gem or giant pendant that they had. So it was a design improvement on that, and that's actually I liked that better. The second thing was Dante being a Nephilim. Personally, I think this was a bad change because the reason I was always drawn to the Dante character was I liked him being half demon, half human because it worked for the appeal. But when I was reading the theory that made sense, there was a few bosses that Dante fought that said, Dante, you're not human. And I know they were probably pulling towards his demon side, but when it comes to the angelic side of Dante, it does make sense. Dante never once looks like an angel. He never seems like an angel. So why on earth would he be considered an angel? Well, what the theory was stating was that I guess Dante, with his double trigger in the final part of that game, pretty much erased all of it. Like, he got rid of all his angel powers. Now, I know in the game you can still use it, but that's just the game. That's mechanics. We don't know what's going to happen, and we don't know what could be the fate of this ability. If this was true, I like this because it does make sense. This is why also Dante now refers to him probably as a human, because the angel side of him doesn't exist anymore. He's just a demon. The other things they also bring up as problems, though, is that, like, Mundus was defeated by Sparta and not captured, though. I really didn't care about that part. I think Sparta by far was wasted in this game, and I think having him in there was pointless. The next thing that was also problematic, I have to say, has to be the design they well, better than design, the choice to do the hair joke.
Not in a million years.
Now, as many fans do know, yes, that hair joke is one of the biggest things that made the franchise mad, or make every fan mad. I wasn't mad. I actually got a little laugh out of it. And the reason I got a laugh out of it is because I knew what they were doing. If you're not as forgiving, or just as, I guess, if you don't understand jokes as well as I do, then you wouldn't understand the joke. Think about it. Dante is a teenager, we'll go with maybe 18, 19, and he's trying to be hip, he's trying to be cool, and this is what Dante's character has always been like in every game. He's always been that character who represents the age of where he came from. The original was supposed to represent the 90s, then later they started representing more of the mid 2000s, and in some games they matured him. In this one, they wanted to bring him back to the 2011s, but more towards what they were like. And so Dante being like this, being a rebel, it worked. And him saying he would never get his hair like that, what people got mad at was it would never happen. What happens at the end of the game? Have you ever gotten there? Did you ever see that? His hair turns fucking white. Did you also know that, just to shut everyone up, they put in a costume that literally gives Dante the long white hair and gives him a closer resemblance to what Dante looks like in the other franchises, meaning this is connected. So the whole thing they did was it was just a joke. It was not meant to be a slap at the original Dante. I've seen people say that this was supposed to be like a cockfucking of their original DMC disc, but I doubt it. I'd say, like I said, it was a Ninja Theory joke. I think it worked, and I think what they were trying to do is what they were succeeding at. Other than that, the only other changes that bug me about Dante is, I guess, how much Dante doesn't seem like himself. Again, everyone calls this the young Dante, and that's why it makes sense that he's not as hip, as cool, or as badass as he should be. I think it's because he hasn't grown into it yet. I don't think he's there yet. And that kind of hurts the ability to say that Dante is, cool like he should be. One major problem that I wish they could tell us, but they've moved on from this franchise. Sorry about this. So one of the biggest problems that they didn't address was, since this is kind of supposed to be a prequel, as many people do know, in the third game, Dante gets his shop for the first time and doesn't know what to name it. Well, my question is, where the fuck did he get the shop? My theory when I thought about it, I was like, okay, wait, where would he get the shop? And then it came to me. I was like, wait, what if Kat was the one who gave it to him? And if you don't know who Kat is, if you've played this game, Kat is the character who's the new love interest to Dante. And if you notice, she's not dead. I have a feeling she was supposed to die. By what it looks like she was supposed to die, and Dante, in his grief, after being shown a shop or a place that she kept as a place to live or place to stay, he turns that into the shop for her, and that's why he's in the third game is trying to find out what to call it. Now, I could be wrong, I could be totally off, but it seemed like something that could have happened. And from storytelling, that's what we wanted. Its story was all there. I loved the jokes against news media. I loved the jokes against all the, I think it was all the drinks and the sugars and stuff like that. And I loved the joke against the mom. It worked. Now let's get into Virgil. Virgil is the grounds where I cannot stand on because I don't know. I don't like Virgil's character, but the only reason I don't like Virgil's character is I'm more connected to Dante's than Virgil's. I'm never a sick guy who wants revenge on his brother just because his brother doesn't agree with what he says. So when I seen Virgil's redesign, I first was like, oh, that's not Virgil. 100% that's not Virgil. I mean, hell, they shrunk Yamamoto. But when I came down to it and really started like thinking about what they did to Virgil's design, I kind of got over it. I got over his design and said to myself, Virgil was designed like he should have been, like he needed to be. He was designed to be a rebel, but at the same time, someone who's fighting for power. He was designed also to be a joke towards the Anonymous, hence why in the game you have that point where he, you know, puts on a mask and says that he's going to save the world. It's kind of like what Anonymous does. So, when Virgil at the end of the game shows what his original plan is, though, I like that. I think that that's what we needed because other than sibling rivalry, and I have brothers, so I know this, they never explained why they really hated each other. They just know for a fact they have one common enemy, and that's Mundus. But in reality, they hate each other's guts, and they think that if they're going to succeed or if they're going to, like, I don't know, make it somewhere in there, they're going to have to, like, really try. And this is where I like this. This one is the one where they work together only to find out that Virgil's plan was to take over the world, and Dante, knowing this, had to stop his brother. And this is why Virgil hates him now. The other thing was that Virgil was always an honorable guy in the games. So in this one, it was weird to see him like do things like shoot a woman while the trade was happening, or make this exclamation that he was going to kill, or he was going to destroy the entire world, or just sound crazy. And then it came to my realization, I was like, wait, this makes a lot more sense. Virgil has not gotten to that state of being an honorable person. I think what happened was that Virgil didn't understand what Dante meant by, like, this world is supposed to be a home to us. And Virgil, after realizing it, he hates his brother, but he knows how honorable his brother is, so he plans to be the same way. Aside from Virgil, the only other change that really bugged me was Eva. And if you don't know who Eva is, from the first game and on, Eva is the mother of Dante, later pretty much turned into Trish. And the biggest problem I had with Eva's design was just how much they changed her look. As you know, Eva was a human with blonde hair who was just somebody who Sparta fell in love with, and it was considered wrong. And then in the Ninja Theory game, she's now an angel with red hair, and it's still the same story as in Sparta and her should never have been in a relationship, and it's kind of like the Romeo and Juliet scenario for both. But in reality, the only problem I have is I don't like how they changed her look. I understand the angel part, but like I said with the Devil May Cry, where Dante might have lost his angel powers, that's why he may call his mother a human from now on. She did also die early in both of them, so they never actually got to introduce her. She only got introduced as Trish. So, when it comes to that kind of story for the mother, I kind of don't know where to be on that, because at first, yes, being an angel is stupid, but at the same time, being a human, I think would have probably, I don't know, I don't know how to feel about that character. I think Eva, it's just her design changes were not needed. Alright, so now let's talk about the biggest problems that I think need to be talked about. And that's, give me a minute. And that has to be, where are they? I think that has to be also with like people's complaints. So when it started out, like the future of Devil May Cry, um, I always knew that Devil May Cry was going to have a hard time coming back from this. And the reason why I knew this was because, well, so much was gambled on this game. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, think about it. Like I said, at this point in time, Capcom was dealing with the chance of bankruptcy, and Devil May Cry was a game I think that came out that year. So if it didn't do any good, they would have tanked. And this is where I started to notice Capcom was losing their grip and started to get terrified. So it wasn't until the re-release of Devil May Cry 4 that I started to see what the Devil May Cry problem was, and that was literally right after Devil May Cry 4 they re-released 5 again. But still, people got annoyed with it. They were like, "This is not what we want. We want Devil May Cry 5 or whatever the new Devil May Cry is going to be." And I understand what Capcom was doing. I know why they re-released it. It's because you fuckers need to give it a chance. The fans panned that game as terrible and panned it as a game that's not worth your time when it is. It's actually really fun, and I think a lot of people didn't give it the chance that it deserved, and whether it's a reboot, prequel, alternative universe, whatever the fuck it is, I don't care. You have to treat it like a Devil May Cry game. You have to treat it like how it was made and conceived and thought of. If you don't, then the franchise will disappear. And that was what was supposed to happen. I mean, think about it like this. Capcom stated in 2013 that they might go bankruptcy, and they only had, I think, was $150 million. And from what I was reading, yes, that's not a lot of money for a company. And like I said, with right now Street Fighter V, they're gambling with that. They want that to be successful. Otherwise, if that fails, and it probably won't, I know with fighting games it's harder to fail with, but if that doesn't get the money they need, don't ever expect another Devil May Cry game. Don't expect another Megaman game. Don't expect anything from Capcom, because they'll probably be gone. And this is where the previous video about how franchises are falling, this is real. This is what's going on right now in the gaming world. Franchises are falling and falling and falling and just getting worse and worse as they keep getting developed. So when it comes to what I'm talking about, it has to go with what Hideko said. He said, hold on. Ugh. Sorry about that. He said that Devil May Cry 4 was not DMC was not the killing blow in Devil May Cry, but it was a interesting test. And when the fans didn't like it, it's weird because he actually said there was nothing different. It was the same game. So when the guy who designs the game says that there was nothing different, you kind of have to like understand that, again, he was behind the game. And just know that maybe we may not get another Devil May Cry franchise or game, because who knows? Capcom might disappear. They might go into bankruptcy. And then this is why I'm also calling this video the Capcom Problem, because of what I think is going to happen. So if, with looking at Devil May Cry, I've looked at all the franchises that Capcom has made. Megaman, Dead Rising, Street Fighter, Devil May Cry, Resident Evil. I think that's all the important ones. These are the ones that always get games or just get released. Dead Rising failed because it was on the Xbox One. DMC has been just rebooting games, and that's not what we want. What was it? Street Fighter V is coming out, and that's a gamble right now because we don't know what's in it, so if it's bad, it's bad. Resident Evil is supposed to have Resident Evil 7 come out, and with what happened with 6 and 5, I don't trust Resident Evil 7. I don't care how people have been saying Revelations is better. From what I saw in Revelations, it's not. It looks just like 5 and 6, where there are problems everywhere. And I think Capcom is really, really pushing it. And then when it comes to Megaman, we all know Megaman got added into Smash Brothers, but have you seen a new game for Megaman? Have you heard about anything for Megaman? Megaman hasn't been talked about in years, and that's because every time Megaman comes up, his stuff gets fucking canceled by Capcom. So if it gets canceled again, then we may never see that Blue Bomber again. So if Capcom tanks these 5 franchises I just named you, who's going to pick them up? Because you know they're not all going to go to the same franchise. Why? Nintendo probably already owns Mega Man, and I think that's probably how it's going to stay. Nintendo will probably take Mega Man off of their hands and just say, we're going to make it like they did with Sonic. With DMC, I think Platinum Studios might pick that up, but Platinum Studios may not pick it up because of their Bayonetta franchise being very, very popular and also being on the Nintendo system. That's another thing that's also a problem. Bayonetta is probably stuck on Nintendo. So if Bayonetta's there, guess who's also going to the Nintendo systems? Devil May Cry if he gets picked up by Platinum. And if you think I'm not telling the truth, because of what happened with Bayonetta, that's probably what's going to happen. Now with Resident Evil and Dead Rising, the only franchises I can think, or companies I can pick up that will pick it up will probably be Deep Silver. And if Deep Silver picks them up, you already saw what Dead Island was going to be. So no, I don't want those two picked up by those two franchises. There's no other zombie franchise either. Every other one is just a terrible franchise. And then I think the final one was Street Fighter. I don't know who the hell would pick up Street Fighter. I really don't. There is no legit fighting franchise other than Atlas Studios, and they do animated stuff. So Street Fighter could disappear. And if Street Fighter disappeared into existence, there goes one of the strongest and biggest fighting franchises ever. So if you're starting to see what I'm talking about when I said fans have a lot to contribute, when you diss one franchise, you don't only just hurt that franchise, you hurt that company. So when Devil May Cry was pandered by fans, Capcom suffered. Same goes for 5 and 6. They suffered. Street Fighter 4, all the fucking editions. They suffered. I heard that Monster Hunter is coming back to help them, which is good, but that's on the 3DS, and then I think it finally got ported to a console. I don't remember what. But at the same time, I know people who want to play Monster Hunter can't. Let's also talk about, what was it? Sorry, I'm having trouble keeping track of all the franchises just because I know Capcom has a lot more, but these are like the main ones. Dead Rising. Now, with Dead Rising, I think the only way that they will ever get that franchise to come back is to do what they did with 2, and that's port it to multiple systems. If they do that, then I think the franchise could come back. But unlike this one, there is no Frank West edition. Frank West cannot save this one unlike the previous one. So this is kind of what I wanted to address. I wanted to get people's attention on the Capcom problem and just how much just one franchise, my favorite franchise actually, Devil May Cry, could disappear into nothing if you let Capcom fall. And remember this, Capcom was one of the giants of the NES era. If they crash, we're going to lose probably one of the best franchises from that era. I've seen people get mad because they hear that Capcom might disappear. I don't want to see that. I really don't want to see that franchise go poof. But that's up to you guys to really think about. I want you guys to literally sit down the next time you see a Capcom game come up and really think about, is that game being sold because they want to sell it? Or is it being sold because they need to sell it? And should I help the franchise? Should I let this company live? They've done evil things in the past, and nobody can deny what they've done is bad. But it's no use killing a franchise because they made a mistake. It's better to kill a franchise if they do something terrible. Cough, cough, yay. So I want you guys to take that into consideration, and if you like what I've said in this video, you can like, comment, subscribe. If you have anything you want to rebuttal or just give me your information, if you think that my theory on like what I thought DMC was going to be was bad, comment section, have fun. do me a favor. I want you to start contributing and give me the feedback I want to hear, because I want to see what the fans really thought of this game and realize how much of an impact you did have on just DMC or just any franchise in general. And remember, continue being a neon star, because we never stop going.